the presentation or what I'm talking about it myself as an individual, not as an institution, Uganda Investment Authority. I'm talking about this as Dr. Kyalimpa, whose name has been put in the papers, on TV and other media, online media and everywhere. There are 5 things I want to clarify, and I'm here to provide clarification. 1, in the media, print media and other social media, Honoraria has been defined or presented or perceived as Casimo, what we call service award. I want to clarify and demystify this and tell the public that even if you go on Google and you get the definition of Honoraria, if you go public service standing orders, you get the definition of Honoraria. And also Uganda Investment Authority, Human Resource Manual defines Honoraria. Now, Honoraria is a payment for work done by an employee or a person contracted to work that is outside his or her routine work or work scope. For example, if you're a security guard that's supposed to provide security services and your employer tells you to provide additional services, to do cleaning services, when maybe the cleaner has left the work, that's additional work, which is outside security work. So you earn Honoraria. And it is a payment after you have worked. They don't pay it when you have not worked. And it is a percentage, it's calculated as a percentage of the work the other person was doing. And it is about 60%. You earn about, they get 60% of the salary the other person was paid, or the payment, the amount, you multiply by the number of days you have worked. Because they assume that somebody who is away and you're replacing that person in terms of work, you may work, for example, for 10 days, 20 days, or 30 days until that person comes back to do their work. But people are also confusing it with what you call additional work allowance, extra time or extra work allowance. If the work you do, they have just given you additional work to the work you are doing, that's what they call the additional work allowance, or what people can say extra time or additional work allowance. But once the work is outside what you are employed to do, that becomes the Honoraria. So it is not a service award. So that I want to clarify that. It is payment for the work that someone has done that is outside his contract. Now, for UIA, this work which we are referring to, work for the construction or the development of Namamve Infrastructure Development Project, what is called KIBP project. I want to start by clarifying, 1, that the government of Uganda borrowed money, a loan, and on this loan, it was a lump sum amount for development of the project. When the money was received, the government of Uganda, how much was it? The government of Uganda agreed that from this amount of money that was borrowed, the government of Uganda did not have what we call government counterfunding. Counterfunding to cater for project management and supervision. So what we did a negotiation and they signed an agreement, and on this money there was money which was cut off, or part of the money, some amount of money was for project management, was separated as a loan from the loan for infrastructure development. So this money, which was for project management, was supposed to be sent to your UIA account. And actually the board recommended that we, and together with Ministry of Finance, we open an account with the Bank of Uganda. And they opened the account with the Bank of Uganda. And I will give you the documents which have that bank account number. And it is the Bank of Uganda. However, indicated, how much was I'm going to check on my phone the exact amount and quote it. The contractor indicated that in the original agreement, it was agreed that all the monies, even the money for project management, would be paid by the contractor. Now, if we wanted this money to move from the contractor to the Bank of Uganda account for UIA to spend the money for supervising the project, he wanted to charge 25% as a charge on this money as a cost. However, we wrote to Solicitor General and we asked advice from Attorney General, who said we should not pay this amount of money. Now, because we saw paying 25% as interest or charge on transferring the money would be causing a loss to government of Uganda on this money, we agreed with the contractor that for us, whenever we have our budget and we want to pay for project management, we would be paying from this money. And that's what has actually been ongoing. We have a full team, project management team, staff, whose salaries and the other benefits, allowances are paid by the contractor from that money. It is not true that the money that is being paid is a loan for construction of the infrastructure project. It is that the loan has two components. One for infrastructure development for the contractor, and another component also which was bought by the government of Uganda for project supervision by UIA and the staff they employ. Both their own staff who are given additional assignments, as well as the staff, project staff whom we employ specifically for the skills which UIA does not have for that project. Now, currently, the project manual which guides the operation of the project provides for deployment of UIA staff in addition to the project staff to support the project, since the project for UIA. And it provides for payment of additional work allowance, which we call honoraria, in case the project staff of UIA are deployed. And in this respect, UIA staff were given even appointment letters and given additional work when the supervising consultant, whom they describe as owner's engineer, had his contract, their contract terminated. Now the board and the management saw it that, necessary that because you could not stop the work of the contractor because it is as well terminated the contract of the supervising consultant. So the board accepted or allowed the UIA and as provided for in the project management manual, to deploy some of its staff who have the skills to support supervision of the project of the contractor, as well as recruit other temporary staff for the skills we don't have as UIA, which we recruited on part-time, as to allow the process of procurement or hiring a new supervising consultant. And UIA hired out services for the skills we did not have internally, temporary staff, consultants, engineers and others, but also supported them with their own staff internally as provided for in the project manual, operations manual, to support the consultant. Period we supported the consultant until the new consultant, we did supervision of the infrastructure project, the contractor. For that period of time, UIA spent about the 500 million they are talking about. But according to the budget which we are supposed to pay the project the engineer or the consultant who was going to do for us the work, who was going to be paid over 6.5 billion. But for us, we only spent 500 million for that period. And we saved the government 5.9 billion, which could have been spent if the other consultant had not been terminated. Actually, we saved the government 5.9 billion, but also it shows a good practice that in some of these projects, it is if the owners of the project have some staff who have capacity to supervise their projects, you can avoid employing fully an external consultant to help the government save money. So in effect, we should be appreciated for saving government for that period 5.9 billion. But for us, we spent 500 million. So the new consultant, supervising consultant, has been recruited. The one who was terminated. Because these are terminations who have privacy and confidentiality. I do not want to engage in that. But there is a new consultant who was hired, who has been working since when the procurement process ended. We stopped there, and even the part-time staff we had hired, their time ended. We stopped them for only that period of procurement. And the new consultant has been supervising the contractor, and UIA staff stopped. In terms of legality of this payment, we want to confirm that, one, in the agreement, project agreement for the project, the first thing is that there is money for supervision of the project. So the money that we used was not for the contractor to develop the infrastructure. We used the money for supervision of the project, which is part of the loan money, because there are two budget lines: one for project supervision for UIA, two, the one for infrastructure development. And we use the money for project supervision. Two, this money was paid by is currently our project staff who supervise and support the consultant, supervise the works, are paid by the contractor because there is a dispute which is pending, which the Dispute Resolution Board is going to handle, of transferring this money from the contractor account to UIA or Bank of Uganda government account. And that is still pending because they wanted to charge 25%. Money was paid by the contractor in the interim as we wait to mediate this process. But the new project extension period which has been granted, this matter has been solved. All the monies for project supervision will be put on that account for UIA and Bank of Uganda, for Government of Uganda. It will no longer go to the contractor because we saw that was a limitation which affected us. Three, the project management manual provides for payment of UIA staff who are given responsibilities, additional responsibilities to support project supervision, and provides for payment for honoraria at the rate or conditions provided by UIA Human Resource Manual. And it's what we followed. That project management manual, that manual was approved by UIA board, which is the topmost organ policy for Uganda Investment Authority. The information which I had in the media, that we had to seek approval from the minister, there is no way or anywhere in the documentation where the minister approves an operational payment of a salary or allowance. And that is not, the minister stops at appointing the board and providing political oversight. It is the board that approves the rest of the policy documents for implementation. Three, this proposal for payment of honoraria was presented to the board 3 times with their input. 2 times where they are providing input. The third time, in the board meeting, the board members asked guidance whether the board were supposed to approve the payment for honoraria from the internal auditor. The internal auditor in that meeting of the board, which I provide you the details, guided the board that their job is only to approve the job, the additional work, to look at the work which the additional staff to be deployed to support the project are supposed to do. And once they are in agreement that there is a need for the project UIA staff to support project supervision in the absence of the contractor whose contract had been terminated, then the implementation of the payment of the money for honoraria after the work has been done is the job of the Director General to implement. The Board of Directors noted and had their input addressed in the proposal, and directed the Executive Director, who is the Director General, to go and implement in line with the policies. Which policies? One, the project implementation manual which provides for Honoraria for deployed staff. 2, the staff were given appointments. Myself, I was given an appointment by the Director General for additional work outside what I was doing, and we did the work, and after the work we were paid. 3, in the budget for 2023, where this money was paid, where it was approved by the board, and in that budget, Honoraria for support staff from UIA is provided for, and in that budget it was paid. It was approved, and those are the policy documents. Also, the final policy document for allowing payment service procedure, standard procedures. It is there. Any public officer who is given additional work beyond the scope of their work shall be given Honoraria based on the formula which is provided public service. And it's what we adopted in UIA, Human Resource Manual. And that is also the same which is provided for in the project implementation manual for the project. So this payment is illegal. Now, the question is, why are we having these issues which are in the media? As UIA staff, myself, I was expecting that I would get this matter addressed through the board, because it's the board that is the topmost organ that supervises us. The board has not written to us as UIA staff and to say that we are supposed that there was a mistake or an error. We paid this money in error. What we only saw on social media, first, even without seeing the formal physical document or letters, was from the minister, which was posted on social media. 2, the minister knows the procedures of handling the issues if somebody is suspected, the public officer is suspected of being corrupt. And we expect that the relevant organs of the government are the ones that would have come to address this. Last year, this project has been audited. We have not had any audit issue on the payment of this Honoraria. So, in my view, let's leave the public statements or whatever is going on, and we should not take it as the truth or fact, because if there is any error that has been done, Uganda has the relevant institutions and laws that do investigations, and we shall see them saying this payment was in error, and if there is anybody who is corrupt, the law or corruption is very clear, will take on the individuals. But leaving that aside, the issue, me as an individual, I decided to contact my lawyers to advise on how this matter should be handled. Of course, they indicated it is affecting public reputation because people believe the minister and the information she gives. And they said that for them, they are going to write to ask the minister to stop this. If she didn't stop, then they would ask for court injunction to stop this matter, such that the relevant laws or institutions do the investigation and get out the facts, instead of an individual being a complainant, being a judge, and portraying others as being corrupt. And in my view, if you are given work and you do it, and you are paid for doing the work, even if the source of the money is contested, you are not corrupt because you did the work and you are paid. So, let anybody come out and say, we are given the work and you didn't work, and you are paid for not working. But if we are given the work, assigned the work, and we have appointment letters, and you have worked, and the reports are there, and they were paid, here can anybody say you are corrupt? When you have being paid for what you have worked for, outside your work, and I think that's very unfair, and I want to tell everybody else that people where I've worked, they know my ethical values. I can't do that. I can't be paid for what I have not worked for what I have not been appointed to do. So I ask them to be calm and trust in my integrity. And I want to tell everybody, those are just the words, but the truth is that we are given appointment letters, we worked, and we are paid genuinely. I thank you. No, in the public service or in the government, especially for us who are contracted workers, who are given contracts, we are not like public servants who are on permanent and pensionable. They give you a contract, and in the contract, given that it's short term, it provides for the employer to terminate your contract by informing you 3 months in advance if he doesn't need you or does not need your services, or even stop you immediately and pay you salary for 3 months in advance. But also to provide this for you who is working. If you see that actually you have done your part, you have made your contribution for the work which you assigned, and you feel actually you can go somewhere else and work, to give them a notice of 3 months before you leave, or you pay them the 3 months in advance. So what I got some work to do, which required me not to be a public employee for this work. And on my contract, since it was ending in 2nd February, call it December, at the end of the year, I saw that the few months which are remaining, the period of which is remaining, is very small. So I decided to ask, I requested them, I met even the board chair and other members, the director general and other people, say I've got some assignment which I think is good for me, since my contract, I had no intention of renewing my contract, because I had already communicated verbally to the board that in December, January, when my contract ends, I'm not going to renew as a deputy for 4 years. So I saw that it is better in these few months to take on another assignment instead of waiting for the contract to end and then I don't have another work to do. So there's some other assignment which I identified, which did not require me to be a public officer, which I'll be taking on. That is after the end of August. But also, in this office, I've seen many opportunities for both being a private investor, a domestic investor in Uganda. Government and environment here has many opportunities for business. And I can contribute more by employing more people in private business. And myself, I have businesses. That one you can confirm from the taxes I pay with UIA. That's the only indicator that shows the business you have. From transport and other businesses. So I pay taxes and you see that from UIA. So being a business person, I felt that my business now needs me more. And I saw many opportunities which I want to take on as an investor now. It is more productive to the country and to myself to create more jobs, to make more money, and to be even more beneficial to the country than being an employee. An employee, President 7 says, you're a parasite, you're a public service. You only make money from taxpayers. Instead of doing more businesses, then the government contributing to government and also creating employment opportunities. So when the president talked about public servants being parasites, that thing affected me and I felt I need to go on the other side, which is creating jobs for the investors, and I be an investor. Because the most valuable person in an economy is the investor. So I want to cross to the most valuable side instead of being a parasite as a public servant, to be an investor. And you are going to see that, and I've had some investments already, but they require my full-time